celebrity drama?
Drew Sidora, they're giving the vibes as if she's dating Portia's ex.
Oh my God.
Check. Music, movies, and viral moments.
Gabrielle Union came out and said that she was doing 50-50 with Dwayne Wade. I have that audio just in case you didn't remember, so let's listen to that.
Check. Exclusives. Come on, y'all. Y'all know I got that over here.
Whatever Loren says, Lord, yeah.
The show with all the hot takes, zero filter. Welcome to The Latest with Loren LaRosa. I'm Loren LaRosa, and I'm going to be bringing you guys where pop culture meets personalities. And over here, baby, we are doing all the things. Give me my tens, because we're going to have a good time.
Hey, y'all, what's up? It's Loren LaRosa, and this is The Latest with Loren LaRosa. Y'all see, I got it on the hoodie. We testing out some merch, and I'm here. I'm in Atlanta. Y'all will also realize that I'm in a different studio than we just announced, because we just announced that we have our Sky House Studios in New Jersey. That is our new studio home. But I'm in Atlanta. I'm here for the podcast summit. And while I'm here, I'm shooting at Bamboo Studios in downtown Atlanta. It's fire in here. They have like 4 to 5 to 6 different sets. They were able to accommodate us, all the lowriders, and make sure that you guys got to see me and not just hear me today while here in Atlanta. So shout out to them. And we're going to get on into the latest. And yeah, here we go. So first up in the news, this story is actually really, really sad. And normally I don't like to start on a sad note. But Kelly Clarkson, huge name in music. I shouldn't have to explain who Kelly Clarkson is to you guys, but just in case you've been living under a rock, Kelly Clarkson, huge name in music. More recently, she's been a talk show host on the Kelly Clarkson Show, which has been a big deal. Major guest. It's a talk show. It's daily. But there's been some absences, and I think people made note of her being absent from the show over the last couple months because it was very rare for her to do so. She's been on air for some time and has been very consistent. But this week, tragically, we learned the reason behind all of her absences. So a few days ago, it literally was maybe 48 hours ago, Kelly Clarkson, out of the blue, came out and said, hey, I have this huge Vegas residency starting, but I have to postpone the start of it because her ex-husband, his name is Brandon Blackstock, was sick, and she wanted to make sure that her kids were good and everybody was good because he was dealing with whatever the sickness was. So that was the announcement. That picked up because her residency, as any other Vegas residency is, huge deal. Fans have been waiting for some time for it. But then, not even 24 hours later, it was announced via People magazine. They broke the exclusive that Brandon had passed away. There was a family statement actually that was shared. It is with great sadness that we share the news that Brandon Blackstock has passed away. Brandon bravely battled cancer for more than 3 years. He passed away peacefully and was surrounded by his family. We thank you for your thoughts and prayers, and we ask everyone to respect the family's privacy during this time. So when this news broke, and Brandon was 48 years old, when this news broke, not that it's anybody's business and that she has to tell or, talk about things, but I think people were really, really shocked because she had been holding it together and holding it down despite those absences for all of this time and no one knew. So TMZ did a story and they kind of gave a bit more information. They said that Blackstone or Brandon was fighting melanoma cancer, which is a serious form of skin cancer. Now, TMZ was told that Brandon passed away the morning that the announcement was made. At the time that they did their story, about 24 hours ago, it only happened a few hours ago, and the announcement had just been made as well. But what was revealed here was that Brandon had been fighting the skin cancer for 3.5 years. Now, like I mentioned to you guys, Kelly Clarkson had been absent on her show here and there, and it became a thing with fans because she was never really absent. So people were wondering what was going on. People actually thought that she was about to announce that she was leaving the show because they felt like, okay, she's not here all the time. The enthusiasm around the show is going down. It's not as consistent. The Vegas residency is about to start. Maybe this is her saying, I don't really want to do the show anymore, leaning back into music or just, living the life that she's been able to provide for herself. People couldn't really figure it out. Then this news broke. And from what TMZ was told by their source, the reason why Kelly had been absent all of that time was because of the sickness that Brandon was dealing with and her having to, step in and help out and also help out with their kids that they shared together. Now, another thing that was revealed was that the Kelly Clarkson staff knew about this, which is a big deal. It shows the respect that the staff actually has for Kelly Clarkson, for her ex-husband, who also was her ex-manager at one point. He was her manager at one point, no longer was, a former manager at one point too, because the staff knew, but out of respect for Brandon and for Kelly Clarkson, they minded their business and no stories broke, no anything until all of these things happened. And again, this all happened within a matter of like 24 hours, less than 48 hours. So TMZ was told everybody on the set knew about the illness, but they kept them to themselves out of respect for Kelly and Brandon's privacy. Now, Kelly Clarkson and Brandon Blackstock met at a rehearsal for the Academy of Country Music Awards back in 2006. They didn't start dating until 2012 after they reconnected at the Super Bowl, and then they got engaged later in the year and were married in 2013. They shared 2 children together, and Kelly Clarkson and Brandon at one point were the reason, or she would say that, their relationship and his encouragement was the reason that she even started the talk show. For a long time, there have been conversations, when Kelly Clarkson decided to not do music as much as she had been very vocal about trying to figure out like what was next for her and, what she wanted to do and all the things. I think now we see, artists sitting down on podcasts and doing these talk shows, and it's normal. But when Kelly Clarkson started her show, it was like a breakout thing. It was something that was new for somebody in her space. The ratings were good, still are, but I say that to say that he was a huge factor in her career and her life. So not only is she losing, the father of her children and, a former colleague or ex-manager or however you want to title him, but I'm sure she attributes a lot of things that she's been able to do to him and his support. So want to send some love and some prayers to her and just, talk about like how crazy things can be and how unexpected things can happen. Because again, when I saw the announcement, I thought, okay, they obviously have a really great co-parenting relationship. I had known about the fact that they used to work together, like he was her manager at one point in time. So, I thought it made sense for her to say, hey, I need to take a step back from my schedule and from work and hop in right now because we don't have the balance of the co-parenting partnership. And then I saw the story about his tragic passing. I was like, man, I can't imagine how she feels. And then after all of this like is announced and it's out there and it's news, now you become the topic. She's used to talking about topics, but now you become the topic and you have to grieve and figure out life through all of that. It was also announced this morning that one of Brandon's daughters is actually expecting her second child in the midst of all of this too. So just send some love to that family because, just thinking and talking about it is very heavy, but imagine being in it and being a Kelly Clarkson in the midst of all of this. Now, switching gears a bit, want to head on over to an exclusive that we did. It was actually over on Breakfast Club. We did an exclusive sit down with Tamar Braxton. She was in LA. It was the BET Awards week. We did the media room with her. And when she came and she sat down, first of all, let me just say, talking about somebody who doesn't hold back, who she gonna give you. Tamar Braxton is going to entertain, okay? She's going to give you a conversation worth your money every single time. But her energy was so different at the media room. I met her at Breakfast Club, and when she came on Breakfast Club, she talked about, not even rebranding, but just being more aware of what she's saying, how she's saying it, how it affects people and all of the things, because Tamar Braxton has a reputation of all of the Braxton sisters of being almost like the problem child, like the one who is always in the media, who always has something going on and, all the things and all the drama. But now it seems like she wants to step away from that and really focus on, she has shows that she's on. She has her cooking show. She's also producing shows as well, too. Music is there for her as well. She just doesn't want that to be the center of the conversation. So fast forward to me running into her at the media room. This was, a moment because she comes on and first thing I can think of is Big Back Cadillac. If you don't know why I thought of Big Back Cadillac, take a listen to Tamar Braxton and her sit down with Nene Leakes when she's talking about her former co-host, Loni Love.
You produced on there as well.
I did.
Wow,
I had a hand
Tamar.
in creating the show. That's why I'm saying I wish they would have told me that because I wouldn't have cast Big Back Cadillac.
I'm finna get ready to leave.
We probably would be.
Somebody called me a big back Cadillac. We got a lot of problems, okay? We got big problems, not compact car problems, all right? But I'm going to say, Tamar, her energy about this moment when I talked to her was very much like, okay, I said it, he, ha, ha, but can we please move on? She actually apologized, which I didn't expect. I expected her to kind of take onus for like, maybe that wasn't the right thing to say or the right way to describe a person and their figure. But I did not expect her to apologize. It was a big grown-up step for her. Let's take a listen to the apology.
I apologize for calling her a big bad Cadillac. Not in any way did I want to shame her or, I've held on to, my composure all of this time and never said nothing, bad, and that was just really a vulnerable moment, and I apologize, Loni.
Now, this apology went everywhere. It circulated everywhere. It was like, she addressed it head on. It was her first time addressing it head on. And even then, she was saying in the interview, like, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Like, I'm going to give you this because I want to be done with it once I leave here. But it picked up so big. She did have to talk about it a couple other places. But what I realized from that moment and watching her talk about it with me and in the places she went to is that Tamar is really trying to grow up. Like, she's grown. She's grown as hell. So, grew up in a sense of like mature and just, watch her words type of thing. But Loni Love had never responded to this whatsoever. And Loni Love sat down with Andy Cohen on Watch What Happens Live, baby. And if you know Andy Cohen, you know he gonna stir a pot or two or three. He tried, but Loni didn't really give him much. Let's take a listen.
Denzel M. said, do you accept Tamar's public apology towards you? And are you interested in having a conversation with her to bury the beef?
I have no beef. That's what I want people to understand. There is
it's a
no
one-sided
beef.
thing.
It's like, and my thing is, you know what, when all that went down, y'all, I was in Iceland. I didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
And so I didn't know anything. And then I got all this information and I'm like, you know what? People wanted me to respond. I'm like, I never respond. Andrew, you know me. I never respond to this.
Yes.
Oh, Andrew. I use my platform to entertain, inform, and inspire, not to do beefs. If I was on your show, though, I would, because I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, y'all, so I think the beef is done. I think it's over. I don't know, though, because, this has been going on for so long. For those of you guys who don't know the background, when Tamar Braxton was on The Real, there was a lot of conversation around her departure from The Real, some of the issues. There were issues that were reported between her and the other women. And, and Tamar on that sit down with Nene Leakes came out and talked about what her issue was. The fact that, she was one of the producers for the show. I didn't know that. I had no idea that Tamar was even involved that much in The Real. It seemed like they plopped her in just to be the villain or the bad guy of the show. And then it seemed like that got heavy for her, which I get. Like, sitting in a space on a show like that people watch and they listen to for opinion, anytime a moment happens where you have to be the person that, like, you're asking something that people don't ask, or you're sharing an opinion, or people just sometimes just don't like you. It's something that I think you learn how to deal with, but it's not a normal thing to have people just throwing comments and opinions and all that at you repeatedly. So imagine being a Tamar Braxton, from the legendary Braxton family, who's already had this history of, like, a drama and people feeling like she's the issue. And then they put you on the show and they narrate you and they produce you as the issue or the villain or the bad guy on the show. And then you leave. It looked like she kind of couldn't handle the smoke and she didn't want the seat anymore. But come to find out from this conversation with Nene Leakes that, her real issue was the way things were happening, not even just on camera. That was an issue, but behind the scenes as well. She poured a lot into that show and felt like she wasn't getting much back. And I'm not mad at her. I'm not mad at her at all for her decisions to step off. But I gave you guys all that background because that was so long ago. This Loni Love, Tamar Braxton situation happened so long ago. So it's like, I'm so glad that the ladies have gotten to a point where they're like, look, I ain't got no beef. We moving on. Where the lemon drops at. Like, it's not even that deep anymore. But at the same time, one wrong comment, one wrong SUV body shame, and we back in the beginning of where we were. That's the latest, y'all. Thank you guys for tuning in to The Latest with Loren LaRosa. This has been another episode, and I tell you guys every single episode that at the end of the day, you guys could be anywhere with anybody talking about all of these things. But y'all, my lowriders, I think we're at 2 million of you guys now. All of you guys choose to be right here with me every episode, and I appreciate it so much. I'm gonna let y'all know when the merch comes. I got y'all.